If the guy took PDs as he got older into his 30s, would he not continue to get bigger and stronger? When's the last time you know of somebody who took steroids, gained size, but lost strength? Coach Greg, and in today's video, a natty or not on none other than Xiaojun, an Olympic freak phenom world record holder. The guy's cleaning and jerking and snatching more than you'd ever believe. He's 38 years of age, and people have been speculating. The guy, he must have been on steroids. And more recently, the guy stopped working out and lost a ton of muscle. And so people are saying, guy must have been on steroids. Look how small he is today. The guy hardly even looks like he works out. Are you kidding, people? He still looks great. He still looks like he works out. He's just not as big as he was. He took over a year away from the gym, and so of course he's going to lose a ton of muscle. What do you think the gym's for? Oh, I'll lift weights my entire life, and then once I have those muscles, I'll give up and keep all those muscles? Of course not. Of course he's going to lose a lot of size. And so let's look at some of the stats. 81 kilo, 172 centimeters tall. That's about 5'8" and under 180 pounds. Does that look or sound like a guy that's on steroids? In comparison, I'm shorter and heavier than this guy. And when I was natural back in the day, I was actually a lot bigger than this. And so if I can do it with my genetics, I most certainly think that this guy, he most certainly could do this natural. And so it's not his sheer size that has people speculating. It's more so how strong the guy is. And remember, this guy's been drug tested dozens of times and he's been in multiple Olympics. It's not like he's gotten away with it for just 1 or 2 years. And what are his best lifts? 177 kilogram snatch, that's getting close to 400 pounds, and a 207 kilo clean and jerk, that's over 450 pounds. Remember, he doesn't even weigh 180. And so remember, these are phenomenal lifts, but of course they are. This is the world record holder. When you're setting world records, of course your lifts are going to be suspicious. But is he strong at everything? No, the guy can't even bench 140 kilograms or 300 pounds. A lot of powerlifters, his weight easily can do this. And so he's strong at his specialties, the snatch and clean and jerk. And his best squat and deadlift, 270 and 260 kilograms. There are teenagers that lift more than this. And so, yeah, it's strong, but in comparison to his specialty, the clean and jerk and the snatch, these are just above average numbers. They're not redonkulous and certainly not indicative of a guy who's taking performance-enhancing drugs. And so in comparison, in my younger days, I quite literally was stronger than this guy in the squat, bench, and deadlift. And I was doing it natural. This is before I used PEDs. And what you need to understand is this guy, he competed at 81 kilograms, but he used to compete at 77 kilograms. And so he's getting older and he increased his body weight, but his lifts went down. He lifted more years ago than he does now. If the guy took PDs as he got older into his 30s, would he not continue to get bigger and stronger? When's the last time you know of somebody who took steroids, gained size, but lost strength? Does that make sense? If this guy were actually cheating, abusing PDs, would he have not continued to get stronger? When I took PDs, my bench press went up 100 pounds in a matter of months. And so because of that, I do think he was natural throughout his career. And do I think that this is the ceiling for his strength? I think he's not going to get any stronger. He's 38. Even if he trained perfectly, did everything and anything he could, the guy wouldn't get stronger unless he used PDs. And what does this tell you? It tells you that use it or lose it. If you're in fact lifting weights and you decide to stop, you're not going to keep that size. This applies to everything. If you're doing races, running marathons, bike racing, swimming, and you take a year off, you stop running for a year, you think you can still run fast? Of course not. You're going to get deconditioned. Same applies to your dieting, people. You can't just diet for 6 months, lose 100 pounds, go off the diet, and not think you're going to gain the weight back. Happens all the time. And so once you get in the gym, you start lifting weights, you have to keep training. You don't need to do as much, perhaps 1/3 the volume, but you can't just throw in the towel. Oh, I've achieved my dream physique. I give up. I'm not going to the gym. Why would you do that? And for me, this is one thing I can't understand. How could he train his entire life and be this good at it and just throw it all away? I'm done. I'm not going to the gym anymore. If you're really passionate, you truly love the sport, how can you just stop? I understand not wanting to compete, perhaps not wanting to do the clean and jerk and the snatch, but to not go to the gym at all, to not at least train and get the pump, How can you give that up? Do you see Arnold Schwarzenegger giving up? Guys in his late 70s riding bikes, lifting weights, he still loves it. It's like eating breakfast. You're not just going to give up. Oh, I decided I don't want to eat breakfast anymore. If you really love your breakfast, your French toast, of course you're going to keep eating it. Now, at his peak physique, when he's lifting the most amount of weights, that's as strong as he could get, but it's certainly not as big as he could get. If you compare his physique to mine, I had a superior physique, but he was superior in strength to me in Olympic lifting because he specialized on Olympic lifting. I specialized on bodybuilding and powerlifting. And so when you train for strength lifting, you're doing lower reps, perhaps not training with the proper time under tension, and you're not getting the most out of your training to maximize muscle hypertrophy. And so if he stopped lifting really heavy weights for low reps and lowered the weight, did higher reps, increased TUT, the guy most certainly could continue to build muscle. But he is 38. He only has a few good years left in the tank to maximize his muscle growth. Once you get into your 40s, your testosterone levels are going to start to go down, and it's going to be harder to build muscle. And so this, to me, is not a representation of the upper limit of size. Just because somebody has more muscle than this guy doesn't mean that they can't be natural. But at the same time, just because you're smaller than this guy doesn't mean you're natural. A lot of guys could, in fact, take PEDs, take steroids, all of them, and never reach this guy's size. And most certainly not get this strong. And so before I get into his body fat, I just want to show you guys this. Billy gave me this for 100,000 followers. And so thanks to all the people in China for supporting me on Billy. They're not on YouTube there. So they have Billy. Check out this award. Thanks to all of you following me on Billy. And in case you're wondering his body fat, the guy, he's very lean, probably about 10% body fat. His upper body has a lot of muscle. You can clearly see a visible and defined six-pack. His legs, they do tend to hold a little bit more body fat. That is simply genetics. The guy has very lean upper body, not as lean in the quads. Has a lot of muscle, but not as much definition, and so 10% body fat. If he were to get even leaner, he would probably lose some of his strength, and if he were to increase body fat, he would probably get stronger. But the guy competes in a sport that has weight classes, and so if he gains body fat, gets a bit bigger, he has to go against bigger and stronger opponents, and so for him, that is his ideal percentage. For high-performance Olympic athletes, they typically will compete somewhere between 8 and 12% body fat, and so he's right in the middle. Leaner than that, oftentimes less energy, can't build muscle, and bigger than that, more body fat, also not ideal. And so my personal opinion, the guys with the best genetics in the world, they could get far bigger than this. As in, this isn't even close to some of the best athletes in the world. All those IFBB pros, the guys who are competing in the Olympia, open class bodybuilders like Big Ramy, if Big Ramy were natural, he would probably eat this guy for breakfast. And my advice, don't do steroids, don't use PEDs, do the best you can natural without them. And if you do decide to use them, never break the law, always get the advice and consent from your doctor. And please be happy with your physique, just do the best you can. If you're suffering from lower testosterone levels, consider getting something like 3 tests as ashwagandha, Fedogia agrestis, Tomcat Elite, Ali's favorite. We also have protein powders, pre-workouts, protein bars, so many supplements. Click the link in the description, use code Greg, 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, watch one of those bloops, follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette IFBB Pro, and until next time, I am out.